Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning alongside the very fabulous, the very stunning, the very amazing with words, Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Hi, Shiza. How are you today?
I am doing absolutely great. Thank you for the kind introduction. How are you?
Well, I think I'm doing great too as well. I feel superb today because my mother made me a paratha.
Wow.
Yeah, which she does not really do quite a lot of times as well because now, my parents are getting old and I think that this was one thing which I wanted to start my day with. For all those people who are out there, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please make sure to look after your parents once they grow up.
Yes.
And imagine that the kind of love you feel, for example, when you actually get to eat a paratha from your mom's hand. Wow, and it was full of desi ghee as well.
And this is actually very right to start our day with this note, because they have looked after you, your parents.
Yes.
When you were young, when you were little, when you were feeble, you didn't know how to walk or talk or do anything. I think it's only fair to do the same for them in the later ages, of course.
Exactly. And I think this is what our religion reiterates too as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think whenever we talk about our parents, there are a lot of things which we really need to talk about. For example, I think that parents actually do justice with all of the kids, So it doesn't really matter whether you have 12 kids, 13, 15, 20, as many. So each and every one of that kid actually gets proper attention from the parents. And I think that this is something which needs to be addressed within the schools where teachers are our spiritual parents as well. So please make sure for all those people who are out there, who actually make all of these curriculums and teacher training programs, that the teacher pays similar attention to each and every kid. This is one thing which I wanted to say.
Absolutely great note. And when you're talking about, equal attention and equal love to all the children out there, there is this concept of, middle child and the youngest and the eldest. And that is just among children, trust you me, because of course your parents have just equal love for all of you out there. Although I happen to be a middle child and I do feel neglected, but I think that's totally okay.
Well, I think for me, I got lucky. I'm probably the second last one as well. But, since I was the first boy, so I think I probably got a little bit more attention, which I detest now because of the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, I seriously do not want these gender biases going on within our community. And other than that, there's something very special we have for you. I mean, for example, you mentioned about the middle child or the first child, the last child. So somewhat, I think this is how our globe is as well. So, today, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually picked a pearl from Indian Ocean. And that's what we're going to talk about today as well. And ladies and gentlemen, today we're very happy because of the fact that we have been joined by an envoy from Sri Lanka.
All the way from Sri Lanka to our show.
Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka happens to be one of the best producers of tea too as well.
Yes, and cinnamon as well.
Yes, and cinnamon as well. But other than that, there's this different side to Sri Lanka today, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about a lot of exchange programs where people come down to Pakistan and a lot of people, they actually represent performing arts, drama, whatnot. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have actually been joined by people who actually came down to Pakistan from Sri Lanka for their Independence Day, which was on 4th of February. But today is the chance that we got our hands on to them and we have invited them over here in the studios. It's a military band and we'll definitely be sharing the performances. But first, we wanted to talk about, because this military band is very different from the type of military bands we have over here in Pakistan.
Right.
So, this is what we wanted to talk about. And I think that, when you were sitting over here on the couch and you're representing Pakistan, you're opening your windows to another 45 different countries. It is very important, first of all, to share what other nations have to share with us and then to actually host them at a place where, they feel comfortable, where they feel at home too. And, their smiles right now can actually, the smiling faces are actually telling me right now that they're very comfortable over here. And I think that we need to actually get started with our introductions. On my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by Major General Farez Yusuf. Hello, assalamu alaikum, and he's heading the troop here as well. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, Ivan. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. It's
yes.
wonderful to have you over here on the show, and
yes.
that too because you're actually representing Sri Lanka over here in Pakistan.
Yes.
So congratulations. Yes. And moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by Captain Ajit Ruwanpura, who's actually a part of the troop here too as well. We'll ask about what they do, what they do not, and a very warm welcome. How are you?
Yes, actually, firstly we have to thanks for the Sri Lankan Pakistani governments and PTV.
Thank you.
And we are High Commission through the High Commission we came here.
I think that's great. Thank you very much for being over here as well, and to the High Commissioner over there. You know, he might probably be watching us right now on
Yeah.
television. But let's get our conversation started.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you know, over here in Pakistan, military bands are very different, you know. So what happens is that, you know, they have their, even though I've seen the wardrobes, they're very blingy and they're very amazing. But what is the cultural prospect behind these wardrobes?
Military band like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, this is different. We think this is cultural.
Okay.
Okay.
Cultural band come to here perform. We have, we have like, if you say the culture, we have Sri Lanka traditions.
Okay.
Tradition means Candians, then low country, then folk dancers, then Afghani dancers. All comes under this cultural troupe.
Okay, so this troupe, which is actually flying with you too as well, you know, they're here in Pakistan. Which branch do they come under?
This is from Army General Sri Lanka Army General Service Corps. These bands come under that particular battalion.
Okay.
Wow, that's great. And what do these bands do? For example, whenever we have ceremonies over here, you know, I'm going to relate it with Pakistan.
Okay.
For example, if it's 23rd March,
Yeah.
if it's 14th of August, if it's our Independence Day, you know,
Yes.
days like these. So our military bands do perform over there as
Yes.
well. And then they have like a bunch of people following
Yes.
them, you know.
Yes.
March past, I
March
think
past,
that's what the parade, you know, that's what we use them for. What do you use these military bands for?
We also same something like Pakistan, independent. We also like military bands, and same thing. We have a cultural performance in the same days.
All right. So that's
Okay,
great.
and since you've already mentioned about, you know, this troupe that has come to Pakistan all the way, I am so super excited to watch their performance because they're dressed in such beautiful clothes and amazing jewelry and whatnot. So excited to display the culture of Sri Lanka. And when we are talking about Sri Lanka, do you know, Shazad, Sri Lanka happens to have the highest literacy rate in South Africa.
98%.
How amazing is that?
Yes,
wow.
exactly. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take you for a small performance. Go ahead, take a look. And when you guys will come back, we'll be in conversation with the captain over here. Let's do that. Good morning.
Wow, what a performance.
Whoa,
Oh,
you know,
God.
I seriously am falling short of words because I've never ever seen such a spectacular
And you know, to be
performance.
honest, ladies and gentlemen, for all of you out there, you're watching it on your TV screens, but we are watching it live over here, and it was,
Exactly.
you know, mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing. But now I want to move on to Mr. Captain Ajit over here. So what is your role in the troupe and what do you do? Do you really have to look after them? Do you make them prepare what notes to play, what to do, what dance moves to come up with? What do you do?
Yeah, actually, I'm the in charge of the dancing group.
Okay.
Our General Sir is the head of the department in
Okay.
our organization.
Very nice.
Actually, we are prepared 15 dancing items here. Only Sri Lankan traditionals and up-country, low-country and southwestern province. There are 3 separate provinces available that traditions.
Right.
It's a very world famous tradition is Kandyan dancing. We are going to
Kandyan
perform that kind of dancing. You can see
Yeah.
what we are going to do as well as.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
and
similar-
you know,
yeah.
at the same time, there's this one thing which I think will connect to as well. Since you mentioned about, you know, the different types of performances, for example, for the urban areas and rural areas as well. So we're here in Pakistan, you know, if you move like 70 kilometers from wherever place, you'll have a newer language as well. So what kind of languages, I mean, do we have like provincial languages as well within Sri Lanka, and then do we incorporate all of those military bands within those tunes of local languages, songs, or probably something of that sort?
What we do, we are like a Sri Lanka, they talk Sinhala.
Okay.
Most of the like dancers we used to like Sinhala.
Okay.
Okay.
So they sing as well.
Or they sing as well with the dancing, with the music, Sinhalese songs.
Okay,
Kind
perfect.
of.
And
Yes.
for example, if we're going to ask about this, because you know they're wearing very traditional wardrobes as
Yes,
well.
yes.
So if we go back in date, what kind of history matches do we get with these wardrobes as well? You know, so is it have we picked
colourful
up these
dresses.
wardrobes from the cultural heritage of Sri
yes,
Lanka?
we start from the Kandyan kingdom.
Okay.
We say Kandyan dance, then we'll come back to the low country. During era, we have same type of performances, dances, like then we have folk dances also, different types of folk dances.
Okay, perfect. So I think it perfectly makes sense. The wardrobe and the moves and everything does associate with, you know, a lot of history that you've already mentioned. And speaking of history, do you know that the world's oldest tree is planted in Sri Lanka?
Wow.
How amazing
And
is that?
Now, you know, where do you get all of this information from?
Well, there's this cool thing called Google.
All right, but with that, ladies and gentlemen, we really do not want you to use Google right now because
Yeah,
we've
don't.
got another enthusiastic performance coming up by this amazing troupe here who's actually over here in Pakistan from Sri Lanka. Let's take another look at another yet amazing performance.
Let's do it. Okay, wow, back with
Whoa.
another performance, ladies and gentlemen. I think Shahzad is more blown away
It
than
was
he was last
mind-blowing.
time.
It was mind-blowing. And you know
Indeed.
what, Shiza, I think that it is always so interesting to see the culture of another country,
Yeah.
plus that too in your own country, in your own studios and right in front of you. I think that
Exactly.
it is superb. But you know, at this very moment, there's this one thing which I wanted to ask, and that is that how well were these performances received by the Pakistani audiences over here when you performed on the Independence Day, which was on 4th of February?
Oh, independent, independent, today we had a independence. A lot of even the Pakistani, even the people came, they are looking at the performance, they all are very happy.
Wow.
Even they all were very colorful,
Yes.
even with the way they are dressed, colorful, these costumes are very colorful.
Yeah,
are
they
very-
are. They are, and they were blingy too as well. You know, as we can see in the video too as well. But there's one more thing, and that is that what kind of instruments are being used? Because over here in military bands, we use a lot of drums, trumpets, and things like that. But
bagpipes as well.
yeah,
Yeah, that is a separate instrument because there is two types of instrument. One is a brass band. It's called used for military purpose.
Okay.
This is a cultural instrument.
Okay.
It's used for the cultural dancing.
Wow.
And we have a lot of drumming system.
Okay.
Like I know there's a very Pakistani drummers. A music instrument is there, but we have separate. It's only belongs to our country.
okay.
Not it's.
So, but what are the names of these instruments for our knowledge?
We are called justly. It's called a Uddarata Bera.
Uddara Tabera.
Yeah, it's called Pahatorata Bera. It's called Thammettam. There's a very.
slowly,
I think
slowly.
you have
I
to.
want
Okay,
to
one by one.
pronounce it.
Teach us, teach us.
Yeah, Uddarata Bera means a Gatabere. It's
Uddara
called.
Tabera. Yeah, is one instrument. Okay.
Another is Pahatorata Bera. It's
Paha,
called.
is it from the same family?
No, earlier I told you there's separate province. They are providing
Okay.
their culture and dancing activities.
Okay.
Okay,
And then
perfect.
they are using then separate instrument for the
Okay.
dance.
Okay.
That is the reason.
So there are different instruments for different provinces,
Yeah.
right? With their history and culture.
But
different-
culture is same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Culture is
okay.
same. We are ancient country. No, we have 2,500 years ago
Yeah.
in history in our country.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why we are come to and that period come to the every dances and keep to the.
To the history that dates
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to 2,500 years. Wow. And actually, Pakistan and Sri Lanka do have quite some things in common. Sri Lanka had the world's first female premier, and Pakistan had Muslim world's first female premier, which is great. And also, Pakistan represents, minorities in the flag as well, with the white color, and the green is for Muslims, of course. And Sri Lanka's flag represents Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam as well.
Wow.
Which is
and
absolutely
I
great.
think that's great. And I think that it increases the acceptability for the people out there too as well. And with shows like these, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we definitely believe in, and this is what we want to do. That that every nation comes together in such a way where there's so much harmony, synchronization, and whatnot. And that too is because of the fact that when these exchange programs take place,
Yeah.
I think people get to know about the culture, they get closer to as well. And I think that this is the most finest and most reliable way in bringing nations together as well.
Yeah,
But
and
what's
since-
your take on
yeah.
this one?
very good to come here for the independent because embassy was invited. They come. We are going to perform here.
Yeah.
Today we have performed. Today we also have another performance at the Serena Hotel. Then all will see our Sri Lankan culture. A lot of people, not
Yes,
only
we love to see your
a
Sri
whole lot
Lankan
of
culture. Of course.
Pakistanians. They'll come and witness today in the evening our performances.
And that is amazing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've got one more small performance. So please go ahead and take it away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, this is it for the performances, and we definitely hope for you to come back again and again and perform over here for us,
Yes.
or probably we can come to you
Yes.
and then perform for you
Yes.
too as well. I
We'd
think
love
that'll
to.
be great. But if there's anything you want to share with all our viewers who are out there, please go ahead, look into the camera and talk to them.
Yeah.
A message
Whatever
from Sri
you want
Lanka
to say,
to
a
Pakistan.
message from Sri Lanka to Pakistan.
Yeah, actually, firstly we have to thank for the Pakistani government,
Okay.
especially Honorable Imran Khan.
Yes,
He's
our very dear.
he's a very famous cricket in our life.
Really?
Actually, and another thing, thanks for the ambassador and all staff for the inviting for us. And especially thanks for the PTV for the
Thank you very much.
interview for us.
Thank you
Loved
very much.
having you.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. It was wonderful to have you. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's this one thing which we do on regular basis, and that is that we call our lifestyle coach. But for, you know, such performances, such amazing performances, you definitely need energy. And when we talk about energy, either we talk about tea or coffee.
Right,
And
for
this
me.
is what Lubna wants to talk. So we'll go for a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when we will come back, we'll be talking about top 10 different kinds of
Different
teas which
teas.
can do good to your body.
Stay
Let's do
tuned.
that.
Good morning. Welcome back to World This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, with Shazad Khan and Shiza Hashmi. And since we were talking about the pearl of the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka, I think it's only fair to talk about different kinds of teas as well.
Exactly, and for that, ladies and gentlemen, you certainly know who we are talking about, our lifestyle coach, that one person who actually makes sure and puts in so much effort, brings oranges, you know, turmeric lattes to the studio so that, you know, all the hosts and everybody over here on the team can actually be healthy, and for everybody who's out there as well. So let's move on to Lubna. Hi, Lubna, how are you today?
Hello, good morning to both of you. How are you both doing?
Absolutely,
Absolutely
perfect. I
great.
think with all the tips you've been giving us, I think I've
Am
been...
I making a difference in your life?
Yeah, you are, you are.
I'm more physically fit than I was. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Okay, so here's a question I have for you guys.
Okay.
How many teas have you guys actually tried or heard of?
Okay, so let
You go
me,
first.
okay, I'll go first. So first one, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, in context to Pakistan, I've had tea with malathi in it. You know, I've had like black tea, then cardamom tea, and then normal tea, and then mixed tea, and then powdered tea, and
Yeah.
then cinnamon tea.
Yes.
And, you know, there's so many teas these days, but why would you ask us such a question?
Okay, so because I'm going to be talking about different kind of herbal teas and non-herbal teas. Now, Sri Lanka actually is one of the main producers of Ceylon teas,
Right.
which are basically three different categories: white tea, green tea, and black tea.
Wow.
Now, black tea is the most consumed one in Pakistan and India and all of these countries. But I want to talk about different teas that we have, but we don't consume very much. And actually, each different kind of tea has a specific advantage that you can use for a specific thing in your body, like
perfect.
bloating or like, you know, nausea or vomiting, anything like that. So it's really important to know what kind of tea is good for what. So I want to talk about that.
And before you start, should I tell you, I don't know about white tea.
I know, right? And that's my absolute favorite. But you know, teas are not just used for, you know, just enjoying them. They are super high in antioxidants. If you're a coffee lover, which I know me and Shiza are,
Yeah,
like, you know,
absolutely.
tea has less caffeine in it, obviously, so it's great for your energy boost. It's actually known to be really good for your bone health as well. It's good for your immune system too. So let's get right to it. I want to talk about my top 10 if we can.
Oh,
Let's
yes,
do
So I'm
that.
going
please,
to
let's
go
do
really
it.
fast on, like, you know, different reasons that you should be using different kind of teas. So number one, peppermint. So peppermint is really great for nausea or any kind of stomach pain. So if you are going to be going on stage or, you know, on
Yeah.
anywhere and you're going to have like a little bit of, you know, stage fright or nausea or anything like that, peppermint tea is great. Even peppermint oil, if you just want to put it on like your wrist and everything, you smell it, you get more energized and no nausea coming from there as well.
Wow.
Another one of my favorite is hibiscus. Now this is a little bit red. Hibiscus is great if you have any kind of breathing issues or any kind of blood pressure issues. So an excellent tea to try if you want to do that. Chamomile is also one of my favorites. It's really good to induce sleep. So for people that have a little bit of like insomnia or they can't fall asleep at night, or you're trying to take a nap during the day and you can't do it, have a little bit of chamomile tea, or even just the chamomile leaf if you put it on, you know, under your pillow or something like that. It's really, really good to induce sleep and relax and take your stress away. So chamomile all the way. matcha is gaining a lot of attention in
Because
in the
I think it's
industry.
pretty to look at.
It's beautiful to look at. I love the green color, absolutely. But there are advantages, obviously. It's really good for brain fog. So if you are somebody who has to pay attention a lot of times, you have to read something, or if you have just want to get rid of any kind of tension, you want to focus on something, energy levels and everything like that, matcha is great. It actually has more catechins than just green tea, which is why it's gaining a lot of attention. So it's more potent than green tea in itself. So matcha comes in powder form as well. You can put it in your smoothies. You can drink it as a tea itself. Matcha latte is getting a lot of attention. So matcha is great in that sense as well. Oolong tea is really good for stress. So if you're somebody who has a stressful job, or if you have a humongous family and you're just stressed out, oolong is great to bring your stress levels down. Ginger tea, of course, we all know this and we use this on a regular basis in our homes as well. Ginger tea is great if you have any kind of bloating or any kind of stomach issues. If you're going to have a cold or anything like that, it's usually just put in green tea. But there is a specific tea made from ginger leaf in itself, so you can definitely try that. It's more effective. So do try ginger tea too. White tea, coming back to my favorite one, is so good for your skin. And I guarantee you this, if you're somebody who has a little bit of saggy skin, if you take white tea on a regular basis, in about 3 months, you will notice a little bit of tightness on your face. Your skin will get more firmer. So your collagen will be boosted, and that's because it's so rich in antioxidants. It's so rich in vitamin A, C, and E that you have 1 cup of white tea and you're good for your whole intake of all of your antioxidants. It's really good. Obviously, coming to green tea is great for inflammation. It's great for cancer. It's great for it's full of catechins as well. So great for your skin, boosting energy levels and everything like that. So these are my favorite teas. And obviously, black tea we all know, we all love. But I do recommend that you do try a black tea just by itself without the milk and everything, just to see the flavor of it. And I feel like we steep it too long and make it completely black. It's actually supposed to be consumed a little bit of orange color. So just try that. And it's again really good for your bones. It's good for your eye health as well. It's been proven for your gut stuff, really good too. Another thing what I really want to mention, and it's gaining a lot of popularity, is moringa. So just like matcha, moringa comes in powder form as well. Same thing with moringa. It's so good for your energy levels and so full of antioxidants. It's anti-cancerous. It prevents a lot of muscle injuries, which is why moringa is known as one of the biggest superfoods when it comes to mixing that in your smoothies as well.
Wow, perfect. That is such a huge collection of favorite teas.
know.
I barely even knew these ones.
So, yes.
But okay, to begin with, when you mentioned that for white tea, you can use it for tightening your skin.
Yes.
So for a lot of people who lose weight, then there's of course a lot of loose fat on their
sagging.
faces, on the arms where not. So does that work?
It does work. So I always tell people, if you're looking to lose weight or if you're doing anything to even gain muscle, because you're expanding your skin, you need to make sure you're intaking a lot of things that boost collagen in your skin, so that you don't get that sagging or stretch marks even that we get if you're pregnant and you're obviously your stomach is going to be stretching and stuff like that. You want to make sure, number one, obviously topically we're applying the oils and stuff like that, but you want to intake foods or fruits or anything like that boost collagen. So white tea is excellent for that. I talk about different fruits that have antioxidants like oranges and lemon and all of these things. Bone broth I always talk about. So anything that's collagen boosting will prevent any sagging, and white tea is one of my favorites.
And then at the same time, I want to do a little bit of myth busting too as well. But before we move on to that, I just wanted to have a fair comparison in between black tea and black coffee as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Because a lot of people out there, they use black coffee as their pre-workout drink, and then I think that it works too as well.
does.
But then towards the end of the day, if you've had a lot of coffee, I think it's going to give you palpitations too as well.
Definitely.
So let's have a fair comparison in between whether to choose for black tea or black coffee.
Okay,
Right.
so if you're going for a very big caffeine boost, I would say opt for coffee. Now, coffee also is very rich in antioxidants, especially if you're having black one, a really good, coffee bean is so good for your brain as well. It's, Alzheimer's, it's really good to prevent that. So if you're somebody who's, going to work out and you're using it as a pre-workout, or if you have a very long day ahead with a lot of physical activity, coffee is excellent to use it for that. But if you're just using tea to relax and you're going to have more than 1 cup, so if you're somebody who would take 3 cups or something, I would say opt for tea because of the caffeine levels. Now, caffeine does pump up your heart rate, right?
Okay.
So you want to make sure you're not taking 3 to 4 cups of coffee, right? But with tea, you have a little bit of liberation and a little bit of leniency that you can intake more. However, I do not recommend more than 3 cups a day at all.
More than 3 cups? I think even 3 cups
is
quite a lot too
is
as
a
well.
Well, okay, this is an innocent question, but since you already mentioned that it's not healthy to have like 3 to 4 cups of coffee straight in a day.
Yes.
So for a person who's never been into tea, what's the recommendation? I mean, what should replace coffee?
So I always recommend trying the different flavors of tea. And if you are somebody who's trying to try different teas or you want to get into tea, I myself...
I'm into green and cinnamon tea.
Yeah, okay, so here's something you can try. I mix green with lemongrass and hibiscus.
Oh, perfect.
And the flavor, the aroma is so nice. And here's what you can try. You can try taking it during the nighttime, right?
Okay,
Before you
okay.
fall asleep. So like, chamomile is great to add in there as well. So you can try that. Try a little bit of matcha or moringa in your smoothie. See if you like the flavors. You slowly got to build up your flavors if you're not
definitely
somebody who's
right.
in the tea whole thing, and then slowly you become a tea ladder person, So it's really like, that's why I recommend, and try to get a good quality tea. The tea bags are not really a good source of, the tea flavor in itself. I always say find the loose leaf tea. That is more potent flavor, and that is the right type of tea that you should be looking for.
Okay, and building up on that, so we all know that these days a lot of people are getting sick. They get cough and then they get fever, and then mothers obviously come up with their own solutions that put this in your tea or put this in your tea or put this in your tea. Do you think that all of these things which we do with our teas within our own houses will have an impact on our health, and do you think that it's going to get better?
I definitely think that it does.
Okay.
So I'm a very big believer of Ayurveda and kind of like home remedies, DIY things, and I'm always trying different things myself as well. So I do think it works as long as you're using natural things. So if you're using a cinnamon stick, if you're using turmeric, if you're using green tea in your house, you're putting a little bit of ginger in there, or you're putting a little bit of garlic in there. Of course it works, but you really got to find a thing that works for your body, right?
Okay.
So, and like I said, try to research what each tea and what each flavor is, or each herb basically is good for. And once you start using it for the right reasons, it is an excellent source of home remedies. You will forget all about medications. Food is medicine, people, okay?
Amazing
Perfect.
that is. But thank you very much, Lubna, for being with us. It's always lovely to have, a piece of advice every single day, every single morning. And ladies and gentlemen, definitely near future, we'll definitely come up with something more interesting as well.
Yes.
Or what you can do is write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of...
Well, this morning.
On Twitter.
Well, this morning without a G.
On Daily Motion and YouTube.
Well, this morning.
And this fabulous repeat is going to be at...
11 p.m.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Take care.
Bye.
Hello.